For our season finale, we're talking about the most important friendship you'll ever have in your life, the one with yourself. We'll be discussing how to even be your own friend, why it's important, and how it will change your life.
If you're new here, welcome back to Fantastic Fantastic, your favorite self-improvement podcast hosted by us. This podcast is meant to help us grow and become the best version of ourselves. I am your co-host, Joie Solano.
And I'm your other co-host, Joie Solano. Let's get into it. Cue the intro.
We saved this topic for our season finale because all throughout our season, we've been talking about friendships, how they crumble because of insecurity, how to find friends you're compatible with, romantic friendships, and also how to have good fights with your friends. We've covered it all.
Yes, but the most important friendship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. I think you can only be a good friend to other people if you have a good relationship with yourself.
Damn.
So that's what we're going to get into today, and yeah.
So first, let's talk about the reasons why you need to be best friends with yourself today.
Yes, if you already know why, okay. But you can skip to this timestamp to know how to actually become your own best friend. But if you need reasons as to why you should be your own friend, let's get into that.
Reason number 1. Great relationships take two to tango. When you get into a relationship, it's really about going to this metaphorical table and saying, hey, this is who I am, this is what I care about, and this is what brings me joy. Let's share life together.
Yes, yeah. I feel like if you can only be a good friend if you understand yourself really well.
Word.
And like, if you don't know what you're interested in, what you want out of the friendship, it's hard to build a friendship with someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
It's like you're coming to the table with like empty cards, right? And like when you're playing cards with someone, it's only fun when the cards are meaningful and challenging and like it adds something to the game.
Yeah, like if you were playing Go Fish and then you were asking for like, do you have a number 4? And they're like, I don't know what any of my cards mean. It's like, why are we playing?
Yeah, it's like, why? Exactly. And so like, it's important to have a relationship with yourself and be best friends with yourself, because the more that you understand who you are, the better it is when you engage in these relationships, whether romantic or in this case with friendship.
Mm-hmm. The second reason is no one knows your script better than you do. I feel like you can only be a really, really, really good friend to yourself. Like, that is a very specific thing.
Yeah.
You know the context of everything. I feel like when you have good friends, or if you've noticed, like, your good friendships are only good friendships because they accept you for who you are. Mm-hmm. You know everything about yourself, and you can learn to accept everything about yourself, and you can make yourself a good friend to yourself.
Right. So like let's do like a quick exercise. I need you all, you at home, to close your eyes. Okay, now that your eyes are closed, hopefully you're not driving. I need you to picture the most challenging thing that you've ever had to deal with. Picture this. Okay, who was there? Who wasn't there? How did you feel? You got it in your head. Okay, now give yourselves props for going through that and making it to where you are today. Hey, you can open your eyes now.
Okay, maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal when you think of that challenge, but at the time, it was probably like all-consuming, and it was like the hardest thing you've had to deal with. But I think like you can only go through such a challenge and face it and get through it and survive because you're kind and encouraging to yourself. I think you get through hardships like that when you have supportive friends, and that's why it's really important to be your own most supportive friend. You understand the whole history of yourself, you understand all your hardships, your deepest, darkest secrets, all the things you're embarrassed about. And I think that's only unique to you. Only you know those dark, deep secrets. So only you can be the best friend you've ever had.
Right. Reason number 3. You're stuck with yourself. Might as well enjoy the company. Let's drop a truth. 100% relationships will come and go. But you know who will stay? You will stay with you. Because if you're not with you, then you're done.
Exactly. If you had the choice to choose whoever was like next to you and like how kind they were, how mean they were or whatever, wouldn't you choose someone who's like
super
kind?
nice?
Yeah, if this person you were with 24/7, you had the option to choose how kind and thoughtful and funny they were, wouldn't you want them to be super hilarious, super thoughtful, and super kind? Well, you have yourself all the time. And if you want friends that are kind, thoughtful, and funny, you gotta be kind, thoughtful, and funny to yourself too.
For real. I think, yeah, that's crazy because like, why would you want to be with someone who is always mean and not funny?
Yes. Why would you want to be with someone who's always like mean to you?
Right.
Like, I think like you never, when you're making friends, you never have a friend that's like actively being like, you're so ugly.
The heck? Why
So
are
why
you?
are you telling
Why
yourself?
are you next to me, bro?
Yeah.
You know? But also, you can't do that to yourself. So, like, if you want to be surrounded with someone who is kind, loving, thoughtful, funny, then you gotta be kind, thoughtful, loving, and funny.
So I wanted to say you're stuck with yourself, so might as well enjoy the company.
So now that we've convinced you, oh my gosh, those are really good lessons on why you should be best friends with yourself. You might be asking, hey, Ian, Joey, how do I do it though?
Yeah, that's like really hard, man. Like I've never realized how important it was to be my own best friend. But like I don't know how do I start? Where do I go from here?
But guess
Oh my
what?
God.
We have this podcast because we did the reflecting, we did the research, we did the Google searches.
Yes, because admittedly we didn't actually know where to start.
Yep.
And we had to, through this episode, we were like, this is a perfect opportunity to actually make a framework and like make notes on like 5 ways how to actually become your own best friend. So, number 1, best friends listen to each other yap all the time. So please listen to yourself and give yourself space to talk and speak.
Ish.
Yes. I think when we're having a really hard time, we go to a friend or when a friend is having a hard time, they go to us and we listen to them talk, we listen to them vent, and we're like understanding. But I feel like when it comes to ourselves, when we're having a hard time, we just suppress our own emotions. And I don't know if it's just like a me thing, but I feel like I've been taught to...
Hey, it's not just a you thing.
Guys...
No, for sure. I feel like everyone has felt this way,
Like-
where they're just like, oh, like my emotions, they don't feel valid.
Yeah, like you're just denying yourself of your own emotions.
As we're growing up, a lot of people project their insecurities onto us, and we become hurt people. And you know what they say? Hurt people hurt people. So instead of getting, no, hold up, I got this. We get, don't be sad, instead of, hey, what's bothering you? We get, don't worry, it'll be fine, instead of, what can I do to make you feel better? We get, oh, that's cool, instead of, really? Tell me more about it. And so, like, in these small, tiny ways, our feelings are slowly being suppressed, and they're not being given the space to really expand and allow you to explain why you're feeling the way you're feeling.
I don't think we ask ourselves enough questions as to why we feel the emotions we feel, which is why, and this is really hard to learn. Like, it's very hard to learn how to validate your own feelings.
Yeah.
So we thought the best way to do it is actually to journal. I feel like this is a very standard tip on the internet, especially if you're into self-improvement. People are like, journal every day when you wake up. The moment you wake up, you gotta journal, like stuff like that. But seriously, it does help because it's like only a space for you to like write down all your thoughts, write down all your emotions, and like no one is interrupting that space. And while you're journaling, I feel like you're actually putting parameters, or you're actually like defining how you feel.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so
That was
what I mean
scripted.
is that what I mean by that is like usually when you're like, say you're anxious about going to a pool party, you know, you're just thinking, oh my God, what if this and this and this happens, and you're just getting more and more anxious. But
Yeah.
you don't know exactly why. But if you take the moment or take the step to like just journal about it, journal and think about why exactly you're so anxious about going to that pool party, now you've defined your anxiety. Now you understand a little bit more about yourself. And after journaling and like listening to yourself, giving yourself that space to like talk and really, I guess, understand your own emotions, you can either go, okay, I know why I'm anxious. I can either go to the pool party and try to face that fear, or not go to that pool party. And either way, now you know how you're anxious or why you're anxious, and you've learned a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes too, like the problem that I have personally is that like when my mind is spiraling, you know, it has like all of these scenarios that are happening. So like, for example, I had a birthday party recently and my mind was spiraling. Did I journal? No, I didn't. But if I did, I think it would have helped me, because now I know exactly why I was like feeling this way, right? I was like, oh my God, no one's gonna come. Like, people aren't gonna have fun. We won't have enough food. Like, all these little things. But I think if you're able to kind of define it, it reduces your stress, because now all the anxiety is like you know exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like you do define your problems when you do tell a friend, but in this case, we just want to emphasize that like you can also do that with yourself.
Right.
And the way you can do that with yourself is by journaling.
Yeah. And I think another thing is that like when we journal, we really build confidence with ourselves. Like one way that I build confidence with myself is like really understanding what I suck at. Right? Like I know for a fact that I am not as good of an illustrator as Joie is. Like maybe I'm actually not that good at all. You know, but I think like once I've been clear with that in my mind, it's like not a point of insecurity anymore. Because now it's not something that was like given to me. It's like a choice. It's like if I wanted to be as good as Joie, then maybe I just have to spend the time that Joie spent to become a better illustrator. It's not just like I'm just terrible at drawing, so I guess that's gonna be me forever.
Yeah, I think like when you journal about it, it's like you're being more you kind of understand the reality a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, now you're just like, oh, okay, like I suck at fashion because I literally have never spent a day in my life really thinking about it. But that's okay, because now I know. Like now I'm aware of it because I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking of it in that way.
Yeah, and I think it's like if you kind of don't confront those emotions of like, hey, maybe I am bad at like rizzing. You know, it's kind of just like, well, now I know.
Yeah.
And I think that gives me confidence because like if I wanted to get better, I could just get better. I could like just
Yeah.
keep trying to do different things to improve. But I think like sometimes we're too scared to confront our emotions and too scared to listen to ourselves of why we feel the way we feel that it becomes this nebulous thing of like, oh, I don't really know why I'm feeling this way, but I feel anxious, I feel insecure, but I don't know. And I think not knowing makes you even more anxious.
Yeah, and it can also just distract you from your friendships. So the important part of like why you should be listening to yourself is one, friends listen to you, but two, it builds confidence and it also makes you understand yourself, which helps you become a better friend to other people.
Yeah, I would say like if you've never been the type of person who journals, keep asking yourself questions. Like ask yourself like, hey, why am I sad? Why am I happy? Why do I feel this way after hanging out with this person? And then once you keep on asking yourself questions, you start to understand yourself more. You're like, oh wow, like I do like people who are introverted because it makes me feel more comfortable. I do like people who are really funny because now I feel like I could be goofy myself. And then because you have all of that information, you're able to go out and be like, where are all the goofy people?
Yeah.
You know, where are all the introverted people at, you know? So you
Yeah.
kind of have a better understanding of who you're looking for as well for friends.
Yeah, I feel like that honestly, it just sounds like you should stay curious about yourself so you understand what you're trying to look for out in the wild.
Yes.
When you're in the world.
In the wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen to yourself. Number 2, best friends are kind to each other. So please be kind and accept yourself however you show up. Best friends, I've never seen a best friend group, best friend duo that are mean to each other. I think they're always uplifting each other. So like, why would you not uplift yourself?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, friends tease each other, like, best friends tease each other, but I've never seen a best friend literally be, like, mean. Like,
Yeah.
mean in the most real sense, where you're just hitting people's insecurities.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clear that up. But yeah, like, friends are always kind to each other. And like we were saying earlier, like, why would you want a friend that's, like, straight up mean? Like, why would you want to
Yeah,
be with
for-
someone
for
who's,
what?
like, bullying you? And I remember when I was younger, I used to be super mean to myself. And I'd be like, no, I just, like, I'm so ugly and I'm so stupid. And I remember, like, my family would be like, would you ever want to be around someone who says that to you? And I'm like, no, that's really mean. I would never say that to a friend. Like, why would I want a friend like that? And they're
Yeah.
like, why are you doing it to yourself? And I'm like, oh.
Wait, hold up. You're kind of crazy for that. Yeah. And I think like one way to build this level of kindness with yourself is to build self-compassion. And the one way to do that is to understand that failure is a shared experience. Parentheses, positive.
Guys, it's the season finale and our camera still died. We still have things to learn.
Crazy for sure.
But as I was saying, I feel like everyone, like, or I guess as Ian was saying, like, everyone is a failure. Or like everyone has failed at some point in
Everyone
their...
has failed.
Yeah, everyone.
Everyone.
I'm looking at... You failed. We've all failed, okay?
We've all failed. We all have these moments of shared imperfection, parentheses positive. And I think it's important to know that we all have these moments when we feel ugly, when we feel stupid, and when we feel lonely. And I think once you recognize that that's something that everyone feels, you're just like, oh, I'm like a human being. And like, it's okay for me to be nice to myself, you know?
Yeah, and I think when you're not, you're like nice to other people. When you recognize that, oh, everyone faces that, you're not gonna be like blatantly like, yeah, I can see your insecurity. I can see right through you. You're not gonna do that. You're gonna have compassion.
Yeah.
You're gonna have empathy.
Yeah.
So you should have the same empathy for yourself.
But I think it starts with yourself. It
Yes.
starts with acknowledging that, like, one, hey, I am not perfect. I will make mistakes. Life is challenging. And that's what makes it so fun, you know? And I think once you start realizing, you're like, wait, hold up. I am complex. Wait, hold up. I do have a history. Wait, hold up. I am a little scarred because of my family. You're kind of like, huh. When you're walking down the street and you see someone else, you're not going to be mean to them because you're like, what if they have a hard time as well? What if they have XYZ reason why their life is hard? And so you're more compassionate towards people. And I think when you do that, people are like, wow, he's glowing, or she's glowing, or they're glowing. It's like, wow, amazing.
Yeah, wow. What a nice person who has so much empathy. And I know this is like kind of hard. Again, like this is probably a little difficult to do, especially
Yeah.
if you've like,
Never done it.
yeah, if you've never done it. But we know you're trying your best. You know, you watched this video. You clicked on this video. You're
Okay.
here with us. You're a freaking tryhard. We love you. Okay, number 3, best friends love to hang out with each other. So please, spend quality time with yourself. You know, I feel like nowadays we're easily distracted. Like, when I'm alone, you best believe I'm pulling out my phone and looking at something stupid. You know, like, I am always distracted all the time. And I feel like the only time I'm not distracted or when I'm really present is when I'm with other people.
Yeah.
But I started thinking about, like, what it means to be your own best friend. And I'm like, why have I never actually had quality time with myself? Why don't I even give myself the time of day? Like, why am I not giving myself that time, like, attention?
I think it's because like we're scared to be alone with our thoughts, right? Like we always want to be distracted. We're always like, oh man, what if I just thought about like how I'm doing? Oh no, never mind. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Let me just scroll on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's like it's really hard to be comfortable being alone because it's a shared skill. I remember the first time that I went to the movies by myself, I was like, this is so awkward. And I think the whole time I was thinking to myself, I was like, what if everyone is judging me?
Yeah.
Like do they think I have no friends? Like what's going on? And thank God for like TikTok because it became like more popular to go on solo dates. But I remember the first time I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I look like a loser. Like no one thinks people think I don't have friends, you know?
Yeah.
But I think now I'm like, no, let's do it. Let's just go by like it's a lot better too sometimes.
Yeah, and I think like that's crazy. Okay, actually, I will say that's crazy to think about how awkward or like how scared and uncomfortable you were because I feel like you do go to the movies all the time. I'm like, that's just an Ian thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like
Parentheses positive. Guys, I do have friends.
yeah, trust. Like, oh,
Sorry, guys, our light fell. Yeah, you think we're making this up?
the interruptions in this episode are crazy.
For the last, and the camera just shook too. For what? Anyway, so let's get back to it.
Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, I feel like going to the movies alone is such an Ian thing to do. But like, okay, parentheses positive, yes. But the important part is that like when you're why you should spend quality time with yourself is so you actually learn about yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like we'll use Ian as an example. I feel like him going to the movies has made him learn about like, oh, I actually want to watch these movies. I'm comfortable doing these things.
Yeah.
When I go to the movies, I want this. But I feel like when you tend to hang out with friends all the time or you never give yourself alone time, you don't actually know what you want. You actually don't know what you're comfortable with, if you have any preferences over other things. And like that's just important things you should learn about so you can have good hangouts when you're with friends, you know? Like I think it's like important to have opinions of like and preferences. So when you are hanging out with other people, you can actually have those preferences and you're not like a pushover or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a long way of saying that. Like, it's important because if you're always influenced by other people and the activities that you do, then do you actually like those activities or do you just like hanging out with those people?
Word.
Right. And I think as an adult, as like 26, it's like important for you to be your own person, to understand kind of like what How do you like to spend your time when no one is there? You know, what brings you joy as an individual? Because once you start figuring that stuff out, then you can meet other people where that activity brings them joy, and it's a whole nother level.
Yeah, this reminds me of that one episode where we had mentioned that like you should be doing things for yourself so you can actually meet the right people.
Yeah.
Like you need to be going on like solo dates. You need to be visiting that museum you've been dying to go to or that restaurant you've been dying to eat at. So you actually have preferences and you have your own personality. You're your own person.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like this will help just because when you're hanging out with other people and you're not worried about looking like you're uncomfortable in your own skin, you're more present, you're more with them. And then as a result, it'll be better for your friendships because they'll be like, oh my gosh, that hangout was so nice. I felt so free and like in the moment and in the present. Like this feels so good. I want to hang out with Ian more. Clock that.
Yeah, and I think there's something super magnetic about someone who's just like comfortable about themselves or with themselves. It's like, well, I want to do that. Like I want to be that silly, goofy. Like I like that joke. I would do that, but like I'm too shy. But when you see someone do like just being themselves, it's like, oh wow, this is a safe space for me to be myself. So you also just like draw in the right people.
All right, number 4. Best friends take care of each other and look out for each other. So please take care of your health and be proactive with your well-being. Take care of your health. Go
Guys,
to the gym.
Yeah.
Drink water.
No, for sure. I don't like if you had a friend that was just like
Stuffing their face with donuts.
and then they would feel terrible the next day and then they do it again, would you really like how many times would you let them do it before you put a stop?
Probably just not once.
I know, exactly. So like don't let yourself slide, you know? And this doesn't necessarily mean like looking a certain way. It's like just taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like why would you mistreat the body you're in? You're gonna be in that body forever. You're gonna be in this body forever. So you might as well treat it well.
Yeah, might as well lock in. Go to that gym, do the Stairmaster.
Eat well.
Journal. Take a walk. Meditate. Hello?
I was thinking about this when I read it. I was like, damn, big sleep and big gym weren't lying.
No,
Like,
for real.
like they are actually, like it is true. It's that damn phone and it's also the fact that I don't get enough sleep and I'm not active enough. Like, but
Yeah.
when I do all those things, when I'm not on my phone as much, when I do go to the gym and when I do eat well and when I do sleep well, I'm like, wait, my mood is better. I'm actually more in the present
Wait,
because
hold on,
I'm
my
not
life
like
is better?
because I'm not fighting for my life during this conversation to stay awake. I'm actually present.
Yes.
I'm actually like a good friend to other people. My mood is way better, so I'm not cranky as heck.
Yep.
And it's like all these things about like just treating yourself right.
These doctors were right. For real.
Big gym.
Big gym, big water. Yeah, so it's important. I think it's just a quick reminder that like being your best friend doesn't just mean hanging out with yourself, but it's like taking care of yourself, like making sure that you feel healthy and that you feel good and that you feel like mentally well.
Yeah. And when you're mentally well, again, you'll be a good friend to other people. Finally, number 5 is best friends cheer each other on. So please believe in yourself, even when no one else will. Seriously, like actually believe in yourself, okay? Like doing this YouTube channel, I've realized how important it is to believe in yourself because you realize like you only have yourself. I mean, obviously we have each other since this is a duo, but like other than that, I feel like we've had to believe in ourselves to make the thing like to do the things we want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure.
And like having that encouragement, like having that cheerleader, which is you, who you are with 24/7 is so important to get to the places you want to get to, you know, to do all the things you want to do.
Yeah, facts. You know what? Look at your monitor. Look at your phone right now. You are beautiful. Say that. Okay. Anyways, I wanted to try that again. It's so important for you to like have words of affirmation to yourself and like really give yourself hype, you know? Like whatever dreams you might have, like yeah, you're going to accomplish them.
Yeah.
If you believe in yourself and if you don't give up. I think if you do give up, I'm sorry, then you probably won't. But that's just being real.
Yes, you have to you have to encourage yourself. You have to be your cheerleader and like come on, like why would you have a friend who's like again, I don't know, it's like very common sense in the sense that like your friend you wouldn't want a friend who's like, "Nah, you're not going to achieve that."
The heck?
You want a friend that's like, "Yeah, of course you can do that. Of course I believe in you.
Yeah.
Of course you can pursue art. Of course you'll be successful. Like I totally believe in you." Be that for yourself.
Yeah,
You know?
crazy. I think it's a lot easier said than done, obviously, but I think it becomes like this really crazy like cycle right? Like you believe in yourself and you're like, you know what? I'm going to read 2 books a year. And then you do it. And you're like, whoa, I read 2 books a year. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to do 4 books a year. And you're like, oh, wow, I did it because I believed in myself. And you're like, once every 2 weeks, because once a week is a lot. And you're just like, oh, wow, I can really do it. And then you start to like build this confidence because you're like giving yourself like positive self-talk that when you hang out with your friends and they're like, man, I'm just trying to read 2 books a year and that's so hard.
Now you can be like, hey, I did it, so you can do it. Like, I totally believe in you. And now you're a good friend in that sense too. Like,
exactly.
What the heck?
And then also, then that friend goes, oh my gosh, like I want to read 4 books a year. I don't know if I could do it. But then because you believed in them, they're like, yeah, maybe I can do it. And then they do it. And then when they do that, they go to their friend and then they're like, oh my gosh, wait, you could do that because then I did the books. And then when you do the books, they go to their friend and then everyone is achieving their dreams and it's a beautiful thing.
Wow, what a rainbow. Yeah, and I think just that having that energy of like being encouraging and being positive and I don't know, like cheering people on is just so nice. Like you would want a friend like that.
Yeah.
So be that friend.
Instant magnet for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, we know a lot of these things could be really challenging to do. I mean, even we struggle with it. But I think that these are really good excuses to be your own best friend and to treat yourself with so much kindness and positivity and love. Because like, why not? Literally, like, why would you treat yourself so mean? Like, if you have the choice.
Yes.
You have the choice.
It's right in front of you. Red pill, blue pill, whatever that is. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Okay. Like it's so important for you to just choose today.
Choose today to be kind and encouraging to yourself. Choose today to be your own best friend.
Choose yourself.
Yes, you are stuck with yourself forever. Another reminder. You are the only person with you 24/7, 365 days of the year.
Yeah. Yes. So be your best friend. And ultimately, being your own best friend will help you build deeper relationships with other people. And yeah, hopefully this helped you out.
Yes, hopefully this did. This is our final episode of the season on friendships. And oh my God, I feel like it's been a long season.
Guys, it's been so long. I don't know if you guys know that this isn't just like a two bros sitting down in their podcast talking about their lives. Our lives aren't that interesting yet. So we don't have a lot of stories. And so what that means is like we have to do these research outlines sometimes, really understand how to like talk about a lot of these topics.
Yeah,
so
we
it
have
takes
to
time.
plan. We have to plan a lot, and then we also aren't just like it's not just to like turn on the camera, yap. We tried that. It didn't work well because again, our lives aren't as interesting yet.
Yes.
But I feel like this format has been working for us, or like researching has been really interesting.
Yes. And honestly, it's been one of the most rewarding experience I have ever gone through, just because like seeing you guys comment, all the updates that you guys do week after week and being like, hey, now I have friends. I'm like, oh my God, yes.
Or just like the supportive comments. It's guys, it's really hard to have a small YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But you guys are so nice and so kind, and I don't think I would have ever like imagined that just within like 10 episodes we've had such nice comments, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. We've had such a we're building a small community.
Yeah, and it's so exciting. And so we want to try something a little bit different. We're going to make a Discord for our community where we're going to do some work, study.
Yes.
Maybe watch some K-dramas, YouTube videos, Jubilee cut videos. Just like we want to see more of you guys in the sense of just like we're such a small channel and like hopefully we grow big. Mm-hmm. But I think like the advantage of being such a small channel now is that like we can have these connections.
Yes, for sure. Especially if you watched our last episode or our bonus episode, like we're able to have calls with people who watch our videos who are also fellow tryhards, and that's been super nice. And so we're hoping that this Discord can help us build or like help build this community we're making.
Yeah.
Mind you, we don't really know much about Discord, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll lock in. We'll lock in for sure. And feel free to like hang out with us, give us feedback. We will commit to a schedule in April, so that way you will always know when we're going to be on that Discord. And maybe for the first 29 days, it's just going to be me and Joey
Mm-hmm.
there by ourselves. But in the 30th day, if you join, that would be sick too.
Yeah.
So we'll include it in our bio, and you can find the schedule in our general chat.
And we just wanted to let you know that we will be back in April with a new season. What? Okay, drum roll for season 2's topic, please. Identity! What?
Yesh. We're going to be talking about self-worth, depression, anxiety, romanticizing your life, self-acceptance, insecurities, and more. Really, it's going to be, this season was a starter trial season.
Yes.
Because we felt like friendship was kind of an easy topic.
Yeah, and it's something that we both have experienced since
Friendship.
Yeah, we've both experienced friendship. We are best friends, so
Yeah.
a lot of the things we talked about were like directly from our experiences. But we're hoping identity we explore more, go
Yes.
outside of our bubbles,
Yes.
and like really research and understand things that we've never thought about before. I feel
Yeah.
like this season we were like, oh, we've experienced this in our friendship. Maybe let's talk about that. You know, maybe
Yeah.
that'll help someone. But
And-
this season or season 2 is going to be like, whoa.
I think, and we're going to try to level up even more in terms of how the podcast looks. But there's a lot of questions about identity that, like, personally, I am still trying to figure out. Like, what is the point of life? And how do I find happiness? Crazy. I don't know if I'll be able to answer it. But it's also, like, why do I do things that I don't want to do or that make me feel bad? Like, why am I doing these things to myself?
Yeah.
And how do I stop? And I think that all ladders up to identity. And we're super excited about the season. So if you haven't already subscribed, if you haven't already ring that notification bell, if you haven't already joined the Discord, what? And I think that's it for now. But thank you for growing with us week after week. We'll be back in April. Again, we're going to be gone for a couple of weeks, but we'll be back. We'll see you next time, and goodbye.
Bye.